All right, let's dive into some news that's got everyone in Silicon Valley buzzing.
Yeah, what's going on over at Meta?
Meta's latest round of layoffs.
Really?
And it's causing, some raised eyebrows, to say the least.
I can imagine.
We've got a ton of sources to unpack here. Articles from Forbes and Business Insider, a news segment on KTVU,
Oh, wow.
even some internal documents that, let's just say found their way into the public eye.
Okay, juicy.
What makes this whole thing even more interesting is that Meta is, at this, laying people off while simultaneously hiring a bunch of AI experts.
So they're cutting jobs but also hiring. That doesn't make a lot of sense. What's the deal?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out.
All right, I'm all ears.
It's a weird contradiction, right?
Yeah.
You'd think a company known for, constant growth and always pushing the boundaries would be expanding their workforce.
Yeah, you'd think so, not shrinking it.
Exactly. So this suggests something bigger is happening, like a fundamental shift in their strategy, maybe even a sign of where the whole tech industry is headed.
Oh, interesting. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are we talking about here? How many people are losing their jobs?
We're talking about roughly 4,000 people.
Wow.
About 5% of their entire global workforce.
So this isn't just like a small little trim. This is a serious cut.
Right. And Meta's calling them performance terminations.
Performance termination?
Emails are going out in waves, depending on time zones, like a global layoff symphony.
That's a little bit ominous, isn't it?
It is. Some countries, Germany, France, Italy, and the Netherlands, are getting a bit of a delay.
A delay.
Because of local labor laws.
I see.
But yeah, it's probably just a matter of time.
Okay, so Meta is framing this as a move to boost efficiency.
Right.
They say they're targeting low performers, but something about that doesn't sit quite right with me.
It feels like a convenient excuse, right? I mean, some of these internal documents are suggesting there's more to the story.
Oh, really? What are they saying?
Well, they're saying that managers were actually pressured to put 12-15% of their teams into the lowest performance categories.
Wait, regardless of how they were actually performing?
Regardless.
That sounds pretty harsh. Can you imagine that? You're a manager and you're told to essentially throw some of your team members under the bus.
I know. It doesn't exactly create the most supportive or encouraging environment.
No, it doesn't. And it definitely doesn't sound like the move fast and break things culture that Meta used to be famous for.
Not at all. It paints a much different picture, one where people are probably more worried about keeping their jobs than taking risks and trying new things.
Right. And if people are too scared to take risks, how can you possibly expect them to come up with those groundbreaking ideas that Meta was known for?
Exactly. But here's another layer to this whole situation. While they're laying people off, they're speeding up the hiring process for machine learning engineers and AI specialists.
So they're shedding one type of worker and desperately seeking another.
That's exactly it.
Almost like they're trading in humans for algorithms.
There's a focused push from February 11th to March 13th.
Okay, so this could mean that Meta is shifting its focus, maybe moving away from those user-facing features that we're all used to,
What do you mean?
like new buttons on Facebook or fancy filters on Instagram, and instead they might be prioritizing the stuff behind the scenes.
The algorithms.
The algorithms. The stuff that personalizes your feed, decides what ads you see.
Even the things that moderate discussions and, maybe even create content.
That's a whole other can of worms.
Is this just Meta, or are other tech companies doing this too?
Oh, this isn't just a Meta thing. Microsoft, Salesforce, Workday, they're all making similar moves.
Really? So it seems like a fundamental shift in how tech companies are thinking about their workforce. AI is front and center now.
Definitely front and center. And it's making everyone wonder, what does this mean for the future of tech jobs? Should people be worried?
It's the question on everyone's mind.
It's a big one. It's true that AI can do certain tasks that humans used to do, and yeah, that could mean some jobs disappear. But AI is also creating new opportunities. The key takeaway here is that the nature of work is changing.
It's a whole new ball game.
And we all need to be ready to adapt.
All right, so we've got these layoffs, this AI hiring spree, and a lot of nervous energy among Meta employees.
Yeah.
But let's take a step back and think about Zuckerberg's vision. He called 2023 the year of efficiency.
The year of efficiency, I remember that.
And he's been talking about building these most important technologies of the world.
Like what?
AI, obviously. Glasses is the next big computing platform.
Oh, right, like instead of our phones.
And, of course, the future of social media. But how do all these pieces fit together?
Right, seems like he's got a lot of balls in the air.
He does. And Wall Street seems to love it. Meta's value skyrocketed.
Yeah.
But is this all just about profits?
It's a good question. Is it a sustainable strategy? Or just a way to keep investors happy for now?
And what about Reality Labs, the whole metaverse thing? They've lost an insane amount of money, almost $60 billion since 2020.
60 billion.
$60 billion. And Meta is pushing to integrate Reality Labs even more into the core business.
So is this misplaced faith? Or does Zuckerberg see something that we don't?
It's a deep dive for a reason. We're seeing a company in the middle of a major transition, trying to balance its current business with a risky bet on the future.
Okay, so Meta is consolidating its core business while throwing big money at these riskier ventures. How do the layoffs and the AI focus fit into all of this? Is it just about saving money? Or is something bigger happening? Let's explore that further in our next segment.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to walk a tightrope. On one side, they're all about efficiency and cutting costs, trimming the fat, so to speak.
Right.
And then on the other side, they're pouring money into this Reality Labs thing, this metaverse venture that hasn't really shown a profit yet.
It's a pretty bold move, to say the least. But I wonder what the employees are thinking. Put yourself in their shoes. You're a software engineer. You're working on Facebook. You're spending late nights trying to make the code more efficient.
Right.
And then you see the company dropping billions of dollars on this virtual world. A world that right now feels more like a sci-fi movie than something you'd actually use.
Yeah, I can see how that would be demoralizing.
Totally. It creates this disconnect, like your hard work isn't as important as this risky gamble.
So you're saying that it's not enough to just tell employees to work harder and smarter?
No, definitely not. You can't just ask people to be dedicated while you're throwing cash at these unproven technologies.
It's got to be about more than that.
Meta needs to be more transparent. They need to explain how all these pieces fit together.
So instead of just saying, hey, it's the year of efficiency or hyping up the metaverse, they need to explain it all.
Yeah, they need to show the employees how their work contributes to the big picture, even if that big picture seems a little crazy right now.
Okay, connect the dots. Show them how it all fits in with Meta's long-term goals, even if those goals seem a little out there.
Exactly. Because when people feel like they're part of something bigger, they're more likely to buy in.
It's about creating a shared purpose.
It's about being part of something bigger than just another social media app or optimizing ad revenue.
But let's face it, Meta doesn't have the best track record when it comes to transparency.
True.
Some of our sources paint a pretty bleak picture. They describe a company that's become really secretive.
Really?
Almost paranoid, you could say. Employees are disappearing without explanation.
That's a little creepy.
And the people who are left are afraid to speak up or ask questions.
That's not good. That's what happens when you push for efficiency at all costs. You create this culture of fear. People are more worried about protecting themselves than sharing ideas.
It doesn't exactly sound like a breeding ground for creativity.
No, it doesn't. And you need creativity for innovation. You need people to be willing to challenge the way things are done.
But if everyone's too scared to rock the boat, the company just becomes stagnant.
Right, right. And eventually someone else comes along and disrupts them.
So how does Meta get out of this cycle? How do they balance efficiency with creativity and risk-taking?
It's a delicate balance for sure. They need to be honest about the challenges, about the uncertainties. Acknowledging those risks builds trust.
So it's about being upfront with the employees.
Yeah, like saying, hey, this journey might be tough, but we believe in it, and we need everyone on board.
Be honest about the risks, but also communicate that it's worth it.
Right, and then they have to back those words up with actions. They have to show that they actually value the employees' input.
They need to listen.
Yeah.
Even when people disagree. And create a culture where people feel safe taking risks and, making mistakes.
Exactly. That's how you foster innovation.
We've talked about the impact on the company culture, but what about the human cost of all this?
Right. We can't forget about the people behind the numbers, the people who are losing their jobs.
This isn't just a spreadsheet. These are real people with families, with dreams.
And it's not just the people who are being laid off. It's their families, too, their communities. It impacts the whole economy.
It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly. And we have to remember that this is happening at a time when the economy is already shaky. The tech sector used to be seen as this stable, growing industry, but now it's facing its own problems.
So even though the layoffs might make sense financially, they're creating a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty for people.
Absolutely. So what can Meta do to help?
Besides just, apologizing.
Well, they need to offer generous severance packages, help people find new jobs.
That seems like the least they could do.
You would think so. But not all companies are that generous, and they could offer career counseling, retraining programs, help people get back on their feet.
Okay, those are some good ideas. But it makes me wonder, if Meta and other tech companies are relying more and more on AI, what happens to jobs in general?
The big question. Are we headed towards a future where robots replace humans?
It's a question people have been asking for a long time, and there's no easy answer.
I think it's important to remember that technology is a tool.
The tool.
Yeah, like a hammer. A hammer can be used to build a house, or it can be used to break something.
So AI can be used for good or for bad.
Exactly. It's up to us to decide how we use it.
So it's not about being replaced by robots. It's about learning how to work with them.
Right. It's about upskilling and adapting to this new world where humans and AI collaborate. Think about the printing press.
The printing press. What does that have to do with AI?
The printing press didn't destroy literacy. It actually made it more widespread. The automobile didn't eliminate the need for transportation. It changed how we get around. AI is like that. It's a transformative technology, and we get to decide how it shapes our lives.
So maybe instead of seeing AI as a threat, we should see it as an opportunity.
Exactly. It's a tool that can help us do incredible things. Analyze huge amounts of data, personalize medical treatments, make energy systems more efficient. It's not a magic bullet, of course.
But it has the potential to make a positive impact.
Definitely. And that's what makes this time so exciting. We're not just watching this happen. We're part of it.
So the choices we make now, the skills we develop, the conversations we have, they all matter.
They all shape this future that's being powered by AI.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. The layoffs, the AI connection, employee morale, the reorganization at Meta, the human cost.
Yeah, a lot to unpack.
But we can't forget about the metaverse.
Right, that's where things get really interesting. Meta has invested a ton of money in reality labs, but it's been a rough ride.
To put it mildly,
Yeah.
almost $60 billion lost since 2020. And they're doubling down, pushing to make reality labs a game part of the company.
It's like they're all in on this metaverse thing.
So is it just bad timing? Is the tech not ready yet? Or does Zuckerberg have some grand vision that we're missing?
It's the million-dollar question. If he's right, those investments, even those losses, might start to make sense, but it's a huge gamble.
A gamble that could pay off big time if they can pull it off. So what does this all mean for our listeners? They don't work at Meta. They might not even care about the metaverse. How does this deep dive into Meta and AI affect them?
That's the key takeaway. This isn't just a Silicon Valley story. It's a glimpse into the future of work, the future of technology, the future, period.
Like a warning sign.
Yeah, it's showing us the changes that are coming and telling us to get ready, because AI is going to play a bigger and bigger role in our lives.
All right, let's wrap up this part of our deep dive and explore what these trends mean for you, the listener. What does it mean for your career and for the future of work as we know it? So we've been digging into Meta, into AI, but what does all this mean for, the average person?
I think a lot of people hear about this stuff and think, oh, well, that's Silicon Valley, that's tech, it doesn't really affect me.
Right.
But I think that's a mistake. What's happening at Meta is kind of like a preview
Of what?
of how the whole job market is changing.
So it's not just programmers and engineers who need to pay attention.
Nope. AI is everywhere. Healthcare, finance, transportation, education.
Wow, I hadn't really thought about it that way.
It's not just about AI doing our jobs for us. It's changing how we work, how decisions are made, like even what skills you need to have to be successful.
So what can people do? I mean, if you're not a tech expert.
Be adaptable. Be a lifelong learner. The skills you have today might not be the ones you need tomorrow.
So always be learning new things.
Exactly. And, you don't have to become a coding whiz.
Yeah.
But it's good to understand how AI is impacting your field.
Okay, so be aware of how things are changing. Maybe even figure out how to use AI to your advantage.
Exactly.
Instead of being scared of it.
Right. And, there's so much information out there now. Online courses, boot camps.
Even free tutorials.
All kinds of ways to learn about AI and what it can do.
So it's don't just sit back and let it happen. Be proactive.
Right. The more you understand, the better you'll be able to navigate, this whole new world of work.
I like that. It's about humans and AI working together.
Exactly. It's like, think about the printing press.
Okay, printing press.
It didn't kill off literacy. It actually made it more available. The car didn't mean the end of transportation.
Right.
It changed how we get around. AI is kind of like that.
The transformative technology.
It's up to us to figure out how to use it.
So instead of being afraid, maybe we should be looking for the opportunities.
Totally. Think about what we could do. Analyze data to understand climate change, develop new medical treatments, create better energy systems. The possibilities are kind of mind-blowing.
It's not a cure-all.
No, of course not. But it could be a powerful tool for good.
It's kind of exciting when you think about it that way. All this change and uncertainty, but also like the potential to do amazing things.
That's what I find so fascinating about, this point in history. We're not just watching this happen.
Shaping it.
Yeah. The choices we make now matter. The skills we learn. The conversations we have.
That's a good note to end on. Don't be afraid of AI. Explore it, learn about it, and be part of the conversation about how we use it to build a better future. Because ultimately, the future is what we make it.